Frank's wife and kid. This has been talked about a little bit, but it's an interesting thing where Frank has mentioned his wife a few times and has alluded to having a kid, but they've only made one very brief voiceless appearance each. Frank's wife was around when Frank drank the father-son tonic and became all smooth and suave like the Nutty Professor movie and impressed her. And, we just had to guess this was his wife, even though it was never stated. It could have just been a crush or something, but I believe it was confirmed this is, or at least it just accepted it is now. And then his kid only appeared again very briefly, where you barely even see him, and he was in this experimental plane that then flew off and took away, and he was never seen again, with Frank saying, "My wife is gonna kill me," and it was believed that they got divorced after this. And now, there is another kid of Frank's that appears later on past this point of the series in the robot fight episode, but it just looks like a tiny version of Frank, and this isn't the kid we saw before. This is just a freaking clone of Frank that he made himself. Season 1 Gym Teacher. Gym teachers are already a pretty obscure character in The Simpsons, but this is the original, and they also take the cake of being the most obscure, only having one moment in Season 1, and then it was completely dropped after that, didn't appear again, and, the show just kind of went out without a gym teacher for a while. Like, there was one point where you hear her name mentioned when the teachers went on strike. However, you don't see her as far as I recall, and I don't even remember when they actually started appearing again on screen. You could maybe interpret this as the same person who started appearing later on, and, they just changed a bit, but who's to say? I kind of like to imagine that myself, maybe just for consistency's sake and giving this person a place, but yeah, just an oddity of the weirdness of how gym teachers are treated in The Simpsons. Maybe the real gyms should make a video on this and talk about this character. Drummer. This guy went completely under the radar until very recently, where someone made a post showing off an official Simpsons music album release. And on there was this whole cast of recognizable characters, like around the border of it. And then there's this guy with them asking, "Who the heck is this?" And after a bit, it was identified as the drummer who appeared in the Larry David Experience and continued to appear several more times whenever there was a call for a band with a drummer needed. And that original appearance, that was in Some Enchanted Evening. That's the original pilot of the series. This guy has been around since the start and continued to make numerous more appearances, but no one ever noticed him until that happened, and just, wow, this guy is an absolute legend, hanging out there the whole time. He's been reoccurring, an established character this whole time, and we just never knew it, and we gotta know more about this guy pronto, ASAP, because he's one of the legends. No Disgrace Like Home Family. Another recognizable, unique Season 1 one-off weirdo family. But these guys have an interesting story that's just told completely in the background through subtext and are normal for that. So we first see these guys at the family party that Burns was doing, and Homer sees them, and they're all la 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 la, perfect, tidy, like that sickening kind of crap, and, Homer's comparing it to his own family who's being reckless and chaotic, and, it's full on Season 1 goofiness where they have halos and angel wings, and there's that notorious moment where Homer sees their family as the devils, and they're all off-model and weird and stuff. Well, that happens, but then later on in the episode, when they go to see Dr. Marvin Monroe, these guys are there too. They're in need of therapy. They're all there together as a family, and they are pissed. They are not getting along at all, and they are grumpy as fuck. And it just goes to show you how that weird, clean-cut, picture-perfect, seeming creepy family that, seems like they got things together, really are probably kind of the worst off and are just somewhat forcing and faking everything. It's depressing, but, it's a good lesson, I suppose. Bolorama Clerk. this is kind of the last point of the season 1 weirdo who stuck around until season 2 before being wiped off the map. And, this guy, of course, appeared at Bolorama where he was talking to Marge. And, unless if you're someone who's into these kind of things, he's someone who's totally forgotten by most viewers. But he does have a weird, eccentric kind of appearance and personality as he's doing his thing at the Bolorama talking to Marge. And then he appeared one time more in season 2 when they went to the video store and Grandpa was babysitting the kids. And yeah, it seemed like this guy was kind of established as the random teenage store guy, I guess before Squeaky Voice Teen kind of did that more. And even in the video store, his hair is a slightly different color, but it's definitely the same guy. And yeah, after that, they just totally did away with him, and that was it for the season 1 and 2, guys. Green-haired movie theater man, sure. I have been overly obsessed with this guy ever since I've seen him pointed out. Cause who else in the series just has green hair, naturally green hair at least, that is wild. This dude almost feels like a season 1 weirdo, but in season 7, where he was there talking to King Homer while he was trying to get in the movie theater, not doing his work at home for the power plant, and, the drinking bird gets knocked over and all hell breaks loose. But yeah, he's there only for a brief moment. He offers Homer a garbage bag of popcorn if he'll calm down and leave, and that's it. Never seen him again, but man, this guy is just a big pinnacle Glup show for me, almost like all the others we talk about here, and I want more people to talk about this guy too. This guy needs all the love. Howard, the florist. Yes, the other Howard. So this guy is a prime example of just season 1 weirdness, because he has such a weird design that might not look the most, insane at first, but he's just so wavy and loose and curvy, and just, you would never see this again in any other episode of the series, and, he was dropped after his one scene, but he's so recognizable despite that, and not really doing much. It's only there for a few seconds, then he's gone. But it's interesting, because later on in the series, past this era, other characters known as Howard started to appear in this supposedly same flower shop, and I guess it's been interpreted that, the one that appeared more recently is Howard II, and this guy is that person's father, and it's just kind of interesting, the legacy and kind of, weird look back this guy left. Pawn shop cash owner. So, this guy is another, again, season 1 weirdo who actually appeared in the same episode where they go visit Monroe, and yeah, let's just say, he's just another really bizarre season 1 design who never appeared after his initial appearance, and he's super fucking creepy and weird and gross, so I'm kind of glad that he never appeared afterwards, but he certainly sticks out after you've noticed him. Selma's Choice Waiter. This one is really funny and insane, so it's never really pointed out, and I didn't even really consciously notice this at first, but it's just a quiet running gag in this episode alone where this overworked looking stressed out waiter is at the casual restaurants, and then later on she's at the fancy restaurant but in the same uniform and everything still. It's just such a weird and funny gag. I don't even know if they did this on purpose or if it was on accident at first, but they left it in because it was funny. I just feel like there was some weird inside joke going on, while they were making this that we just never heard about, and she's also supposedly at the sperm bank, but it looks slightly different there, and something that maybe that's a different person who's, a more lively relative who hasn't been broken down yet, but who knows, but I really like this character. Proto Janie. A weird, unique one. So we all know Janie. We talked about her at the start of this series. But who is this? Well, it's Janie, according to Lisa, and she only had one very brief appearance during that moment where she was giving her a cupcake and she was looking at all intrigued, ooh, and then afterwards it got interrupted when Nelson and his weasels debuted, and that's it. The other Janie that we see onwards is her, question mark, but I mean, they're clearly different people, and, Janie got her design swapped, but Yeah, like, I guess you can interpret it as that this is a different kid with the same name. Like, that's not at all when they flung off. But I don't know, it's so weird because they clearly were probably meant to be the same, even though they're not.